Hi guys, Dylan here with another gaming video where today, welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, where you might be wondering, why did I just subject you to the boot up screen? Well, last time we went through the files a little bit, and that's where I want to start off today. Because as you may have noticed, there was another code, which I think is exciting, honestly. But yeah, I noticed this, so if we go over and enter 344, there's another file. Now, I already looked in this file because I was curious if it was just anything important at all. And it seemed important enough. It didn't really give me any more hints as to where to look for more of these codes, especially since boat, spaceship, gear, and mystery does not really tell me boot up screen. So I don't get it, but whatever. I found another one because I noticed the numbers. So without further ado, I'm going to change my date and time to 8:33. I'll see you guys in a moment. Alright, it is officially 8:33 in game. So without further ado, let's open the file. So, it's a bit cryptic. I'm not sure what to make of it still. But I think it just adds on to things in general. So, I want to have a look. Infrastructure, software, communication systems. We understand the modern-day challenges of running an enterprise company with efficiency and reliability. That's why you can count on us to get the job done so you can focus on the business that matters most. With world-class engineers and industry-leading specialists, Metaverse Enterprise Solutions will always deliver solutions that last. Cost per year analysis shows that the Metaverse Solution saved up to 30% in the long run. And our flexible support models ensures that quality can be delivered at the price point that is right for your company size. Your time is valuable. That's why we're planning to design to installation. Our experts do the work for you. Filling out our simple questionnaire is all it takes for our team to recommend the right plan and provide an affordable quote. Excellence is right around the corner. With solutions you can count on and experts you can trust, this is our promise to you. You're in good company. That sounds to me like it's an ad. Specifically for the software our computer seems to use, which is interesting. But I don't know, because again, the last time we saw one of these codes was over in here. Tower keys, which isn't labeled as a TXT, but it works anyway. I don't know why. But key pair 1 was gear, and it just says 240, 221. Why suddenly this works? Where did I get boot up screen? I didn't get boot up screen from any of this. I just saw numbers on the boot up screen. I don't know what it means, to be frank. I don't know at all. All I know is we're looking for keys that have something to do with a boat, spaceship, and mystery. I guess it could be mystery, but that, I don't know. I feel like the final key would probably be something more exciting than an ad. Anyway, that's all I want to get into. With that in mind, let's head into the good old side stories, because that's the topic of today after all. Sorry for the mild detour. Just wanted to look at that, because I feel like it's worth looking into. But yeah, reflection, Yuri and Monica. Without further ado, we begin, because we have a lot to get through, and I want to get started. Am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's always hard to tell since you always look so into it when you're reading. Makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. I guess that makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if you let others do all the work. So it can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and again. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances around the room at Sayori and Natsuki, even lower the volume of my music because it is murderizing my ears. Sayori had her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe I should say something. No need. They just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They've become really good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayori seems particularly good at making that happen. The two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I've probably formed a bit of a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh. But I like it that way. Feels nice to be carried off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose I've just read it a lot recently, but only because I'm in the middle of this series. There are still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy is my favorite, but after that, it's more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. Monica lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I wouldn't tell anyone if you do. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So I just kind of felt like, please don't make me think about the past. I'm sorry. I just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out a romance novel to read. That would be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it was just between us? Try asking someone who has no shame. Like Natsuki. Jeez. Ouch. So sorry. I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressing you. I'm like that thing for things from my past too. You know, things I get too embarrassed to re-experience. There's nothing wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. Makes me think that I'll likely grow out of it too. Oh, chill up, most of it. Yeah. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just... Oh, you were talking about how our interests have changed over the year. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple of years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess, let me think. It was after I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just like really fed up of a lot of things, and I got super into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase where I hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica! Sorry. That's completely wrong. So, it's still really cool both of you found your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it really sounds like they helped you through a lot of hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? The book looks even bigger than the last one you were reading. It's technically slightly longer, but not by much. How do you think it would be if you stacked up the whole series? Natsuki estimates holding her hand above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long so I can say I've read more than you. Haha! Not that I have enough money for that. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was joking. I can never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, I said for me, not for you. I can have my own opinion. I don't think that's too convoluted. Sayori, are those from the floor? Gross! You should wash your hands before touching any of my books. But my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Sayori trots out the door and Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly, she was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I understand that. It's not for everyone. But she knows well how much those mean to me, so how about just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me all the things you hate about it? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in the literature club, so I figure I should mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. Why did I fail to read that word? For the record, I've always been impressed by your level of creativity in your books, and your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary, I just wish to be respected. Not then. Either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Fair enough. Okay, everyone. We have a special club meeting for today. As you know, the Literature Club is a place where you get to share things that you're really passionate about. But that also means you should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have the chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? It's important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry it came off that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it'd be a good topic for the Literature Club, don't you think? We're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure that we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea, or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thoughts. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks, or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? Oh, jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? That's easy, cherries. Really? I thought cherries tasted nasty. What? Cherries are delicious! Whoa, that's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does it make you feel? I don't know, sad? Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See, the reason I had such a strong reaction wasn't because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. Well, that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries are nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on! How is that objective when you just said was your own opinion? It has to do with the way our brains interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind a second, and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good. So what if instead I said, like, I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's just not a kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine. As long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty is a nasty word. Okay, so cherries were kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of thinking about cherries, I just talked about my feelings and Sayori didn't get defensive. So instead of chasing or clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not going to quiz you or something. I know that. I was just... Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is about how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it's a tool to help you learn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Sayori? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh, come on. Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped. I'm sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae? You are welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You're certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So now that we have the gist of it, how about we try something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not, no. How come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive can come from that. It's just going to start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child. You don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes to that word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like... It's fine. I have nothing against anyone's personality. Or personally! What am I talking about? You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance to my reading material. I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were going to say manga's for children or something, like I don't have here enough of that. But there's plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life, and I'd prefer not to revisit it. I prefer reading more mature things now. Excuse me? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Yikes. Well, maybe it is immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki. Nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. Don't you see why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset! Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always get the impression that you secretly look down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. It's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all my interests immature. You can't. Please stop. Please. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. Oh boy. Sorry is like the diffuser. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to... I said that completely weirdly. I don't even know what I said there, really. Invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the club room into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Holy crap. I never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I should have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. That was really stupid of me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in this club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess we're just sensitive about the things we really love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, that's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things. It's about recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you were trying to do, but I think the problem here is her. Not just the way you talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow. I'm just, like, saying that instinctively. I'm setting myself up to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now. But it's fine, I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Well, everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but at least I know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This will be a learning experience. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much force she has to put into the reassuring tone of her voice. This is bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other the least out of everyone, and this is the reason. Sayori and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga. Monica sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really just have to come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, but she knows Sayori doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Man. And that's the end of the first part. We got some new music, which puts us up to 21. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, Reflection Part 2. Let's begin. Whew. A new day arrives. Sayori arrives at the club room earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling down her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as tends to serve her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because the ship sailed away. Yo. Yeah! Natsuki? Natsuki pokes her head from behind the closet door. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. But it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah. Thanks for realizing that. I should let you finish that up then? Oh no, I wasn't. I mean, I do whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is just too nervous to come into the club room by herself, so... Oh. Jeez, does Yuri really have to let things bother her for that long? Well, she can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you have a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while. But as soon as you and your thoughts again, it just comes back. Ugh. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened and to just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. So stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't mean you're weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that'll help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were, but before we had to have that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got me this time. I hate that I'm letting it happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me, just because she likes to pretend she's all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me, or manga, or whatever. Yuri acts as if she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? After this, obviously not. You know, Then your argument kind of falls apart, Natsuki. What about before this? Well, I went until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without needing needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Yuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga is really honest and fun and just easy to let go with. While fantasy is a lot more to interpret and uncover. It's really rewarding to have good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing about that both manga and fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think that there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. At first it was with Monica when I was new to the club, and then it was with you, and now it's Yuri. Always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk, and if they just realize that, then we could at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everyone's just a jerk to me, and because nobody likes me, and I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Suri puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has a different way they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes it makes it harder for us to understand each other. But I think that sometimes when we get lucky and make friends who are really good at the kinds of communication, and it feels like you magically connect with them. Other times, even if people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles with a lot too. It can be really hard. It takes like a lot of reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it may sound stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends, and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades, or even something stupid like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then that's letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I have to find ways to blame everything else instead. See yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then I really would just sound full of myself. No, our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about ourselves. That's a part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who stuck her edgy phase and that I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can ignore them most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and again, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. Communicate, and learn from each other, and maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate it can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Huh. So she's admitting it to Natsuki as well now. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. jeez. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You, and Yuri, and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn all about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Sayori's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside of her. Was this a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she had to begin to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged or left alone any longer. Huh. No, this is all very interesting. Oh! This! Yeah, new background! I like it. That's nice. You can see the vending machine. Is there an apple juice in it? I don't see one. Which is interesting. Anyway, onward. I'm getting distracted. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Hi. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair of me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time I won't just try and jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. You can't even have a normal conversation without someone saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a moment, then manages a nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. Jeez. Let's see, we have soccer tryouts, bake sale, music club maybe. This is a very interesting background, honestly. Anyway, onward. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns. I can't just get away from them. What kind of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me. Especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time she found herself in an altercation with Natsuki. How a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think that Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels like she needs to protect herself. But you know, she's not really a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She just, well, I guess it's the way she works, so she wants to receive some degree of kindness first, before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh. But that means the burden is on me. And if I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would feel like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone is used to think I'm weird or talk behind my back. It's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their minds, so I did, and she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I just... I was wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior, despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. Well, everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. And I'm the one getting upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. but it doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned about when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for seeing a certain way about things, or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature. You're so good with people. I feel like such a child in a comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. But these are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think that takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to be misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because Literature Club should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me because I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. No, I mean, if you wanted to, I wouldn't really mind, so... Monica pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. I love it when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see this side of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea! Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. How is it my feelings get the best of me and I forget to say all the important things, and all I say is things that I don't mean? Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't usually gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that, and I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself as making friends with someone like Sayori. We're the opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she put so much effort into understanding me, and that's how we get along. I think it's the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. So I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's some type of person or magical formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that, always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when we think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them, and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the Literature Club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's unusual to hear her suddenly talk about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about other people. Sayori too. It just makes me happy because I learned a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant so much to you. Monica never thought much of it, but in the past few weeks, Yuri's always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to problems and the concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. CG? No. Lecturing. It's true. Sayori and Monica are naturally more comfortable with other people and can easily work through situations of conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is self-reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize is an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. Okay, back to the club room. A very shy girl with long, pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fists pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the Literature Club president's club room, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monica is sitting chatting with an unknown group of friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances toward the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide to leave, the clubroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to seeing you during lunch. Yuri squeaks in response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness, I thought this was some kind of emergency. That's not good to waffle. Monica briefly glanced over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go to an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back to the classroom and says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, and then grabs her pen off the desk before returning to Yuri. Alright, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? Oh, I don't know, I'm easily distracted and get sucked into things if I start neglecting the time. Me too, I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty, let's go in here. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys Monica as she beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. This is my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative. Gosh, you must be really determined. You know how hard it is for you to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Ah, here's the CG. Honestly, it looks nice. Why is this? I keep getting better. I don't even know what to say. Honestly. Alright, let's go. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Ah, yeah. I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. I'm sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listening to the different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel so embarrassed all of a sudden. It's okay. How about some things that you said to me yesterday? But, never mind, I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, the tension evident. Then she writes the word reflection. How this is the reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monica. That's me! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. Same goes for Natsuki, too. We started off pretty hostile to each other because we were so worried about getting what I wanted. But she wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I'd like to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like it when Sayori and you trust that I want to be a good person even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we need to make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think it's the first that you have to know that you've got to be ready to respect and listen to them, then admit the things that you could do better. Then finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for structure? It'd be a few paragraphs, one for each of those points. I'd like that. My thoughts were so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know. You spend so much time reflecting and being open-minded, that's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. But as she lets go, she gets caught by surprise when Yuri's fingers curl to hook onto Monica's hand. For a while they sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday you told me something that I've been thinking a lot about. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, that they're just a state of being that we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always how they decide to be. It's also made up of past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than insignificant side characters who are somehow out to get me. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help you out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting on paper, I realize I'd actually prefer others not to read it. Yuri softly laughs to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into the whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. We'll always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. Can I read? For listening to you so much, it's really helped me make some sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Aww, that was cute. We're almost out of time. We'll be able to finish. I missed a line. Yuri glances at the clock, that's what I mean. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day? Probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you'd like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monica nods. Good luck, I'm here when you need me. Yuri returns the nod and the two depart. Are we gonna see how this ends? No! That's like a cliffhanger! Ooh. Because if we look at the side stories, if I had to guess, yep, self-love, Yuri and Natsuki. See, I get the feeling that's where we'll get our answer. Oh! That's, Hold up. I'm sorry, what now? Since when do I have emails? What? Wait, what? Hold up. I'm on leave the rest of the week. Contact Ravi if you need to schedule server time, but I expect my jobs to be run for the few days since I've collected so much data this week. How about we rearrange a meeting to discuss the results when I return? What the heck? This mail server has been blank for ages, and then I play a side story, and suddenly it's just suddenly active. Is there anything here? From Ive Laster, email, to United Mail Group, do not use. Date Monday, December 9th, 2019. 12:06 a.m. Have a nice weekend. The specific phrase, have a nice weekend, is familiar to me. In the original DDLC, spoilers. But when Yuri, dies, a file appears that basically says, have a nice weekend. So the fact that it's using that specific phrasing, I mean, it's not exactly uncommon phrasing, but still, for this, I think that's fairly significant. But I don't know what it means. Ooh. Senior engineer. Metaverse Enterprise Solutions. How interesting. So we have an email finally. But that was sent in 2019. Huh. Anything changed in the files? At all? Most things that change are in here. Doubt it though. Doesn't seem like it. I feel like the files are all here to be found. There's canyouhearme.txt, but that's more related to the regular games, so I'll go over that next episode. But there's that if you want to read it, I suppose. In case it matters, and people can let me know. But yeah, I still find it interesting that these are all still here. Even Sayori. Even though Sayori is deleted in the main game. Which is interesting. That's different from the normal game, that's for sure. Pictures. We should have a new Yuri picture. There we are. That's cute. It's very cute. Reflection Part 2. Got anything else? Yep, CG, as usual. Got that. Anything else? Yeah, the stairway. Got that too. Ooh, it has a little information. Hold on. No, it doesn't look like there's anything else, but I figured it was worth a look. Alright. Anything in these? Nope. I guess that's everything to do with the side story. Interesting, honestly. I am curious, honestly. I say honestly like a billion times, but still, it's true. I am curious. We've made it to 55% data collected. It's cool, it's cool. We got an email for the first time. What do I even say to that? But yeah, things are warming up. I think we have 2 more episodes as far as I know, and then we just got a secret hunt, honestly. Because we'll be out of side stories and we'll be out of the main game. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to try and finish up DDLC in the next video. Because all that's really left is the epilogue, the rest of Act 2, and Act 3. So Act 2 shouldn't take too long. Act 3 is really short, and the epilogue is also short. So it might be a longer episode, but at the same time, I don't think I can split it into 2 parts. So we're just going to go with it. But yeah, that's what's coming up. And then we'll see what secrets lie in the game. With that in mind, guys, thank you for watching the Dudley World. If you enjoyed this episode of Doki Doki Literature Club, plus don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the little bell button, all the good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed. Have a grand day.